Right. So now we conduct these classes. A group of pre-medical students, right, going to conduct all these classes, right? We are going in this way. We are going to cover microbiology, applied biology, environmental biology, genetics, as well as some selected parts from Unit 5, animal form and function, right? From GC A-level biology paper, 38 marks, right? 38% of marks allocated for which lesson? For the animal form and function. So in this class series, special class series, we are going to cover those theory parts. And also, I think there is November 1st, right? We are going to start a special target exam paper class, right? In that paper class, we are going to write answers for 8 full papers, right? A-level prototype papers, 8 papers, and we are going to give, we are discussing those papers, right? Full paper, and we are providing review PDFs, as well as we are going to mark your answer sheets, and we can rank, right? We are going to rank you. So we'll start the lesson, microbiology. This is the 9th lesson in your syllabus, right? If you have any questions, you can send those questions through chat, right? Yes, microbiology. Right. So here we can classify this lesson into 8 parts. In the first part, right, in this session today, we are going to learn about nature of microorganism. Who are microorganisms? What is microbiology? And different types. And there is something called, like, microorganisms, they are widespread on Earth, right? And the reason for that, like that, in that topic, we are going to discuss about those things. In the second part is types of microorganisms, right? Even from grade 6, you have learned different types of microorganisms. So in this lesson, we are going to learn about bacteria, then fungi, then unicellular protists, then viruses, viroids, prions, molecules, like that. Then part 3, basic laboratory techniques, right? This includes sterilization methods, a lot of practical parts. And section number 4, use of microorganism in industry, agriculture, and environment. Microorganisms we used in different types of industries, like in dairy production, for the production, like in coir industry, like that. Then 5th section is nature, distribution, and role of soil microorganisms. So under this part, we are going to learn about nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle also. Part 6, microbiology of domestic water and wastewater. Right here, we are going to learn how we can use microorganisms to clean or to pure, to clean domestic, like wastewater, right? And the purification of water. And part 7 is solid waste treatment. And last part is microorganism and food spoilage, right? And we are going to learn what are the internal as well as external factors that affect food spoilage, like that, right? So here are the questions, right? From the first part of this session, right? After I'm teaching this first part, you should be able to find answers for these 4 questions, right? Let's go through those 4 questions first. Number 1, define the term microbiology, right? At the end of this lesson, right? At the end of the first part of this session, you should be able to define the term microbiology. Then second one, explain about microscopic nature of microorganism, right? Question number 3, microorganisms are ubiquitous on Earth. Explain. And last one, what are the reasons for the widespread nature of microorganism, right? If you need, you can note down these 4 questions, right? I'll give you 2 minutes. If you need, you can note down that. Okay? Right. Nature of microorganism. Right. Microbiology. Now look at this. Look at the slide. Microbiology is the study of organisms that are too small and are not visible clearly to the naked eye or unaided eye when they exist individually. These organisms are referred to as microorganisms. Right. Then now here, what are the key points? Now this is the definition of microbiology. Microbiology means the study of microorganisms. Then the next question is, who are microorganisms? From the name, like micro means tiny. Organism means living things, right? Yes, organisms that are too small. Study of organisms that are too small, right? Now, if they ask for the definition of microbiology, the first keyword is study of organisms. Right? Study of organisms that are too small and are not visible clearly to the naked eye. Naked eye means, right, in Sinhala we call it POV asset. Right? Is there anyone who can't understand Sinhala? Right, that is one. Naked eye and unaided eye. Unaided eye means no spectacles or even without using a microscope, right? Or unaided eye. Keywords. These are the keywords of this definition. When they exist individually, right? When there is a group of microorganisms, then we will be able to see. For example, if we take cyanobacteria, right? When there is a cluster of cyanobacteria, we can see in green color. But when they exist individually, we can't see from our naked eye or unaided eye. That means to observe microorganism, we need to use an instrument called microscope. It can be a simple microscope, compound microscope, or an electron microscope, right? So these organisms are referred to as microorganisms. Again, what is microbiology? What is the first keyword? Study of organisms that are too small and are not visible clearly to the naked eye or unaided eye when they exist individually, right? These organisms referred to as microorganisms, right? If you need, you can copy down this slide. This you can make a short note. Okay? As soon as you finish copying down, please let me know, right? Raise your hand or do something. Then we can go to the next one. What about the others? Only 2 people are okay. Okay. So we'll move to next one. Right. Types of microorganisms. Next part is types of microorganisms. So in chapter 3, right, you learn about domain, kingdoms, right? Like there are 3 main domains, domain bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. So the first group of microorganisms that we are going to learn under this chapter is bacteria, right? Bacteria. Now, what kind of cellular organization do they have? Are they prokaryotes or eukaryotes? If we take bacteria and archaebacteria, are they prokaryotes or eukaryotes? Tell me. Prokaryotes or eukaryotes? They are prokaryotes, right? So these two types of microorganism groups, they belongs to they have prokaryotic cellular organization. Prokaryotic cellular organization. They are prokaryotes, right? Then we have cyanobacteria, blue-green bacteria. Cyanobacteria also called blue-green bacteria because they have chloroplast, right? So cyanobacteria also belongs to this group, right? Prokaryotes. Then molecules, new word, right? Molecules also belongs to, they also have a prokaryotic cellular organization. They belongs to bacteria, but only difference is they lack cell wall. And in this lesson, right, you are going to learn about two types of molecules as mycoplasma and phytoplasmas. Right. Next group is fungi. Right. So fungi, what kind of cellular organization do they have? They have eukaryotes. They have like eukaryotes. They are eukaryotes. Eukaryotic cellular organization. Right. Eukaryotes. They have a well-organized nucleus. Right. Those things. I think you can remember those things. We learn under chapter 3. Right? So there are, like some examples, yeast, Saccharomyces, right? The fungi may be unicellular or multicellular. And protists, unicellular protist. Amoeba, paramecium, amoeba, paramecium, what is the other one? Euglena. They are unicellular protist, right? And also diatoms, right? So in this lesson, we are going to learn about those unicellular protists also. So they are eukaryotes, right? Eukaryotes. These 4, they belongs to prokaryotes. And these 2 types of microorganism, they belongs to eukaryotes. Right? Okay. Right. Next one. Fungi, eukaryotes, right? Fungi and protists. These are MCQ points, right? MCQ points, very important. The next group is virus, viroids, prions. You may have heard about virus, but viroids and prions? Have you heard about virus and viroids and prions? Normally, virus, we can't, like virus, they show both, like when they are out of living organisms, they are non-living. But once they get into a host cell, they are living organisms. So we can't categorize like they are prokaryotes or eukaryotes living like that. They don't have cellular organization. We can't categorize them as living organisms or non-living because once they get into a host cell, they show living characteristics like reproduction. But when they are out of a living organism or a host cell, they are non-living. Then next one, viroids. Viroids කියන්නේ කවුද? Viroids means viroids, they consist only of short piece of naked RNA, right? They have RNA and no protective layer. Protective layer means like now, if we take virus, they have a protective layer of protein coat. It's called protein coat. They are covered by a protein coat. But here, these viroids, they consist of short piece of RNA which is not covered by any protective layer or protein coat. Right? We are going to learn about viroids, right? Then prions, they are proteinous infectious particles, right? They are even smaller than viruses. Viruses, they are electron microscopy. Now, if we take bacteria, we can observe bacteria using a compound microscope. But if we come to viruses, can we observe viruses using compound microscope? No, we have to use an electron microscope. So these prions, give me a second. There are some people in the waiting room. Right. Okay. Prions, they are even smaller than viruses, right? They lack nucleic acids also, right? If you need, you can copy down this one, right? I think it's better to copy down these slides because this now that means you are going to make a short note. As soon as you finish copying down, please raise your hand, right? Shabnat, right? I don't know whether I am pronouncing the correct way or not. Fatima, right? We have started the lesson, right? I explained what is microbiology, and now we just discuss about types of microorganisms. Others? Finish? Shall we move to next one? Right. Please note down that bacteria, archaea, cyanobacteria, mollicutes, they are prokaryotes, right? Fungi and protists, they are eukaryotes. Virus, viroids, and prions, they don't have cellular organization, right? Okay. Then, next topic, microscopic nature of microorganism, right? Microorganism, so from the definition you learn, they are too small. Now, what is the resolution power of human eye? What is the meaning of resolution power? Resolution power means the minimum distance between 2 points that can be distinguished as two separate points. So the resolution power of human eye is 0.1 millimeter. Okay? Remember that one, right? It's again an MCQ point. Resolution power of human eye is 0.1 millimeter. So if any organism or anything is smaller than that resolution power, can we observe them with our naked eye? No. Right. The same thing happened here. In general, microorganisms are less than 0.1 millimeter in size. Right? What is their size? Generally, microorganisms, they are less than 0.1 millimeter in size. The resolution power of human eye is 0.1 millimeter. And microorganisms, their size, it is less than 0.1 millimeter. So can we observe with our naked eye? No. And cannot be seen with the unaided eye. Right? That means we cannot observe microorganism without any instrument, right? Without any aid. Therefore, they must be observed with a microscope, right? What is the instrument we use to observe microorganism? Microscope. It can be a simple microscope. Simple microscope means the hand lens, right? Then compound microscope, then electron microscopes. Microorganisms are measured in micrometers and nanometers, right? 1 micrometer is equals to 10 to the power minus 6 meter. And 1 nanometer is equals to 10 to the power minus 9 meter. Just imagine how small, right? So what are the units used to measure microorganism? Is that meters, millimeters or centimeters? No, micrometers and nanometers. So from this point, this topic, what you have to remember is you should know the resolution power of human eye, that is 0.1 millimeter. And microorganisms, they are less than 0.1 millimeter in size. So we cannot see them with unaided eye. Therefore, what is the solution? We have to use a microscope. And the units used to measure microorganisms are micrometers and nanometers. Now, last point. Some microorganisms are more readily visible than other because of their larger size. Right? අනිත් අයට වඩා ටිකක් හොඳට පේනවලු ඒගොල්ලෝ ටිකක් size එකෙන් ලොකු නිසා. Right? Okay, copy down. If you have any doubts, please ask. Right? Types of molecules, right? Mycoplasma. Do you know the spellings? Who asked that question? Mycoplasma and phytoplasma, right? Do you want me to type that? Types of molecules. Mycoplasma and phytoplasma, right? Shall we move to next one? Shall we move to next slide? Right. Others, there are 11 other participants. Finish? Right. So this is a picture, right? A comparison of the relative sizes. They have given the bacteria. Bacteria is 1 micrometer. That means 10 to the power minus 6 meters. Then virus, proteins, lipids, right? Then next one, the most important part in this section. Ubiquitous nature. Ubiquitous means widespread, spread on everywhere. හැමතැනම ඉන්නවා. Microorganisms are ubiquitous on Earth. They are found in water, soil, air, interior and exterior surfaces of other organisms. Right? Microorganisms, they are widespread on Earth. Right? Every habitat. They can live in any habitat. Now, normally if we take human, we can live on land. If we take aquatic organisms like fish, what is their habitat? Aquatic environment. Even now, if we take mangrove plants like that, their habitat is aquatic environment. Then birds, arboreal animals, then they adapted to that environment. But if we take this microorganism, right, they can live in any habitat. Water, soil, air, interior and exterior surfaces of other organisms, right? Now, for example, if we take a human, microorganisms can grow on the skin of the human as well as inside the body. That is the meaning of interior and exterior surfaces of other organisms. This meeting will end within few minutes, right? You can join through the same link, okay? Within 10 minutes. Okay. Then, marine and freshwater microorganisms form the basis of food chain in oceans and freshwaters. Have you heard about something called, there is another type of organism called phytoplanktons, right? So, they are living in aquatic environment. They can do photosynthesis. That's why they form the basis of food chain in oceans and freshwaters. Marine and freshwater microorganisms, right? Microorganisms who live in marine and freshwater bodies. They can do photosynthesis. So they form the basis of food chain. You know, always food chain start with the primary producer. That means a green plant, right? Or an algae or any organism who can do photosynthesis. Some of them do photosynthesis and are primary producers in aquatic environments, right? The next type of microorganisms are soil microorganisms. Soil microorganism means the microorganisms who live in soil. They help recycling of chemical elements between soil, water, air, and living organisms, right? These soil microorganisms, they help for the process of decomposition, right? Decomposition. They break down complex molecules into simple molecules and make them available for the consumption. Microorganisms suspend in air as bioaerosols, and it's a new word, bioaerosols, have the opportunity to travel long distance with the wind current and precipitate. Now, who are bioaerosols? Right? It is a new word. Bioaerosols. I got this from the internet, right? This is not given in your textbook, in your resource book. So you don't have to worry. Bioaerosols means it is a short for biological aerosols. A subcategory of particles released from terrestrial and marine ecosystems into the atmosphere. They consist of both living and non-living components such as fungi, pollen, bacteria, and viruses. Right? So the microorganisms that present in the atmosphere, they are called, who are suspended in air, they are called bioaerosols. So with the wind current, they have the opportunity to travel long distances, right? So some bioaerosols who are pathogenic, right? Now, for example, if we take coronavirus, right, spread by air. Okay, can you remember? Coronavirus. So pathogenic one, pathogenic bioaerosols. So pathogenic bioaerosols, they have the opportunity to travel long distance with the wind current. So if they're pathogenic, right, they have the opportunity for disease spreading. Only a minority of microorganisms that associate with other microorganisms such as plants, animals, and human are pathogenic. Right? Now, if we take microorganisms, there are advantageous as well as pathogenic microorganisms. But the percentage of pathogenic microorganism is very low compared to the advantageous microorganism. That means most of the microorganisms are advantageous for us, for the plants, right? For the animals. Only minority of microorganisms are pathogenic, right? They can give these kind of statements for the last 5 questions, right? Statement questions. Here, instead of minority, they can give majority, like that. Majority of them are advantageous or harmless. However, all viruses are harmful to the organisms they attach to, right? But viruses, all viruses, right? It can be corona, Ebola, HIV, anything. They are harmful. They are not advantageous. Right. So now let's go through those points again. Ubiquitous nature of microorganisms. Ubiquitous means widespread, found in everywhere on Earth. Water, soil, air, interior and exterior surfaces of other organisms. Now, marine and freshwater microorganisms, they form the basis of food chain. Some of them, right? These some, minority, majority, those words are very important in biology, right? Very important. Some of them do photosynthesis and are primary producers in aquatic environments. Next type group of microorganisms are soil microorganisms. They help recycling of chemical elements between soil, water, air, and living organisms. Next group is bioaerosols. Bioaerosols means the microorganisms suspended in air. So they can travel long distance with the wind current and precipitate. Because of this reason, pathogenic bioaerosols, they have the opportunity for disease spreading. If we take microorganisms, majority of microorganisms are advantageous or harmless. Only a minority of microorganisms are harmful or pathogenic for plants, animals, and humans. But all viruses, they are harmful to the organisms they attach to. Right? Write down the topic ubiquitous nature of microorganism and write down these points quickly. So within 2 minutes, this meeting will end. Please join through the same link, okay? The ones who joined the class just now, right? We have discussed what is microbiology and types of microorganisms, right? Then microscopic nature, those topics. Now we have just discussed ubiquitous nature of microorganism, right? You can copy down these points. And we'll give you, if you need, we can give you the recording. Finish? Right. We'll move to next one. So if you want to note down what is bioaerosols, then you can copy down this para. Only 2 sentences, right? If you need. Bioaerosols are subcategory of particles released from terrestrial and marine ecosystem into the atmosphere. They consist of both living and non-living components such as fungi, pollen, bacteria, and viruses. You don't have to study this definition, right? You don't have to study this. You don't have to remember the definition. just to understand. Right. Right. If they ask that, like, if they ask you to write a short note or an essay question from that ubiquitous nature, right? If they ask you to explain that kind of topic, right? At the end of the class, we are going to write an answer for that kind of question, right? So what you have to do is you have to write down like now, for example, what I remember, how I remember those essay points when I'm doing A levels, right? Now, if we take this one, there are how many points here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? There are 10. Right? There are some more. Right? I have to teach you about Extremophiles anyway. What I did was to practice essay questions. Right? I took a separate book. Right? A CR book. You can buy anything. I don't know. Then I, like, for example, I wrote the question, explain ubiquitous nature of microorganism, right? Then I point out, then I write down all these points. First one, microorganisms are ubiquitous or not, just like a marking scheme. I have the question and the marking scheme, the answers, right? If I wrote that answer in the morning, right, I'm going through that same question in the evening. And I'm going to continue that on for 1 or 2 weeks, right? Then I can remember all those points. හරිද? දැන් මෙතන I'll explain you in Sinhala also. ප්‍රශ්නයක් ගත්තොත් හිතන්න ubiquitous nature of microorganism explain. That is your essay question. පොතක් අරගෙන ඒක ලියනවා. ලියලා ඒකට අවශ්‍ය ඔය තියෙනනේ points ටික. දැන් මේ මම ඔයගලන්ට slide එකේ දීලා තියෙනවා. ඕක 1 2 3 4 දාලා ලියනවා පහළට. Now, if you take a marking scheme, annual marking scheme also, they have like given the answers in point wise, not in a paragraph. Even though they ask you to write down the answer in a paragraph in paras, in the marking scheme, they have given the answers in point wise. I think mama point wise, එක දෙක තුන දාලා ලියනවා පාරට. උදේට ලියුවොත් මම ඒක උදේ 8ට ලියුවා කියලා හිතමු. මම ආපහු ඒකම හවස 4ට විතර ඒ question එක ලියනවා. කොල ඒක ලියලා අර answers බලන්න නැතුව මම ඒක ලියනවා තනියම. ලියලා right මම මගේ marking scheme එකත් එක්ක බලනවා මම ලියුව එකමද මේකේ තියෙන්නේ. If I have missed any points, then I highlight those points. So මට මතක තියෙනවා මම දැක්ක ගමන් ආයෙ මතක තියෙනවා මට මෙවුව මතක නැහැ. That means I have to study them again and again. That's the way how I study essay questions, right? Okay. In the paper class, we'll teach you some more methods to study. One essay for 1 week, right? Amna, are you doing A-levels this year, 2023 or 24? Right? If you are doing A-levels this time, then one essay for 1 week, not enough. Okay? So at least you have to practice 10 essays for 1 week if you are doing A-levels this year. Right? Even 24 now, just try to practice at least 5 essays per 1 week. Okay? Right. Ask for essays. Right? Yeah. Essays, scores, when I see, I feel like anything can come. Yes, yeah. I know that. So we'll go through your questions at the end of the class, right? First, we'll do these sessions. We have to finish that, right? I'll answer all those questions at the end of this class. Right? Is it okay? Right. So the next part, extremophiles, right? So if they ask you to explain the ubiquitous nature of microorganisms, you have to explain this part also, extremophiles. Who are extremophiles? And the structured essay get question එකක් එන්න පුළුවන්. They can give a question like this. Explain or define the term extremophiles. Right. Extremophile means microorganisms who are capable of inhabiting extreme environmental conditions that are unfavorable or even lethal for other organisms. Right? Now, please let me know, can you live in a hot spring or under sea, under high pressure, or in an island? No, because we are not adapted. But microorganism, right? They are capable of some microorganisms, right? Not all. There are different types of microorganisms. Some microorganisms, they are capable of inhabiting different environmental conditions with environments with extreme conditions. Extreme means, now if we take temperature, very high temperature, like inside the earth crust, like that, which are unfavorable or even lethal for the organism. Now, can we live inside the earth crust? No, we can't, because the temperature is very high, pressure is high, right? That is not a favorable environment for us. Even for example, can we live in a desert? No, we cannot. Right? දැන් අර ගිය ටිකෙත් ඉර මොකද වැස්ස නැතුව ඉන්න කාලෙත් අපිට ඉන්න පුළුවන් නේද? බෑ. හරිද? ගෙවල් වල වතුර තිබිලත් අපිට ඉන්න බැරි වුණානේ, because we are not capable. But there are some microorganisms, and again an important word, some microorganisms, not all, some microorganisms who are capable of inhabiting extreme environmental conditions that are unfavorable or even lethal for the organism. That kind of microorganisms are called as or known as extremophiles. Then in the structured essay paper, they can ask, name some places where extremophiles can be found. First one, inside the crust. You know, if we take the internal structure of our earth, there are 3 layers: crust, mantle and core. Right? Inside the crust එකට ඇතුළේ දැන් අපි ඉන්නේ crust එකේ මතු පිට. Deep sea at high pressure. Right? Extreme, දැන් අර ඔගොල්ලෝ Titanic නැව හොයාගෙන ගියා submarine එක. Right? මොකද උනේ? When it go deep and deeper, what happened? Pressure increases. Right? A pressure increase උණු හින්දා තමයි submarine or something like ඒක මේ විනාශ උනේ, right? Destroy උනේ. Deep sea at high pressure, under the sea, right? When we go deep and deeper, what happened? The pressure increases. But there are some microorganisms who are capable of living under that kind of high pressures. Then third one, extreme acidic or extreme basic conditions, right? Hydrothermal vents. You learn about hydrothermal vents under 3rd chapter. Frozen seawater, and that means under very low temperatures. Anaerobic conditions. Anaerobic condition means no oxygen, without oxygen. Right. So if you need, please copy down this slide also, extremophiles. First one, you should know the definition, right? These are the important words. Some microorganisms capable of inhabiting extreme environmental conditions that are unfavorable or even lethal for other organisms. Right? දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ පාඩම් කරද්දී මෙහෙමයි කරන්න ඕනේ. මේ වගේ එකක් ගත්තොත් you have to think, what kind of question they can ask from this para or this sentence. Now, if we take the extremophile sentence, right? resource එකේ හරි note එකේ හරි තියෙද්දි හිතනවා මේකෙන් අහන්න පුළුවන් මොකද්ද? So they can ask, who are extremophile? Then you have to study the answer for that particular question. Okay? And the next one. Now in the resource book they have given in a para, not like this, extremophiles found in like inside earth crust like that. So you can ask from yourself, what kind of question asked from this para? Name some places where extremophiles can form. Then study the answer for that question. That is the way how you have to study biology. Right? Finish? Right. Imasa okay. Others, Omali. Netmini anyway. Netmini is okay. Others? Nada. Is it nada? I don't know whether my pronunciation is correct or not. Hasna. Others? Quickly, yeah? Right. We'll move to next slide. Right. Extremophiles are classified according to the environment in which they grow. Right. This part is very important for what? For MCQs, especially MCQs. Right. They can ask in the structured essay paper also. Right. Thermophiles means the microorganism, extremophiles who are capable living in high temperatures, under high temperatures. The thermo means temperature. Thermophiles. Then low temperatures, psychrophiles. Acidic pH, acidophiles. Basic pH, alkaliphiles. Then require sodium chloride. That means they can live in saline water. Halophiles, high pressure, barophiles. Right? The next point, some of these extreme environments consist of more than one extreme condition. Now, for example, if we take hot springs, right? Hot means like high temperature, as well as they are acidic or alkaline. So the microorganisms who live in that kind of hot springs, right? They are adapted to live under high temperatures as well as live in acidic, very high acidic or alkaline environments. So they have like more than one extreme. They are adapted to live under more than one extreme condition. And the second example is deep sea. Deep sea. Deep sea means when going like deeper and deeper, what happens in the sea? Temperature decreases. Very cold environment. And also pressure also very high. So the microorganisms who live in deep sea, they can live under very low temperatures as well as under high pressures. So now look at the sentence again. Some of these extreme environments consist of more than one extreme condition. For an example, many hot springs are acidic or alkaline in nature at the same time. Deep seas are cold and remain in high pressure. Microorganisms living in such environments are adapted to live with more than one extreme condition. Right? In the structured essay, they can give a question like this. Microorganisms live in extreme environments. Are adapted to live with more than one extreme condition. Give 2 examples. Then you should know these 2. Because in the resource, they have given these 2 as the examples. Okay, please copy down. If you have any questions, please ask in the chat. Finish? Finish? Right. We'll move to next slide. Then, high growth rate of microorganisms, right? This is also a target question part. High growth rate of microorganism. Rates of growth and reproduction of microorganisms are high, right? Now, for example, if we take growth of a human being, right? It will take long period of time, right? You know, for a mother to give birth to a baby, it will take 9 months, right? Human baby. But in microorganism, is it like that? Do they take 9 months? No. Within milliseconds, they can double their population. So their rate of growth and reproduction is high. What is the reason? What is the reason for the high rates of growth and reproduction of microorganisms? You know, microorganisms, they are very small in size, right? Small in size. When they are small, because of their smaller size, they have high surface area to volume ratio. මොකද size එක අඩු වෙන්න surface area to volume ratio increases. Right? You have to remember that. Due to their smaller size, they have high surface area to volume ratio. Therefore, they have a large surface area available for exchange of materials from the external environment. Now, if we take microorganisms, they have very simple organization. Their body is composed of like some are unicellular, right? If we take multicellular, there are like not like our body, right? There are millions of cells in our body, but in microorganism, very few cells. So do they need a separate system for respiration? No. A separate system for circulation? No. Do they have circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system? No. They do everything, right? They exchange everything with the environment through their cell membrane, right? Or cell wall. They don't have separate organs for that, right? So they can, due to their, when they become smaller in size, their surface area to volume ratio increases. As a result, now they have a large surface area for exchange of materials with the environment, right? Okay. So the flowing rate of materials into the inside of the cell, as well as exist of waste material out of the cell into the materials to the outside of the cell is also high increases, right? Materials එළියෙන් ඇතුළට එන rate එකයි ඇතුළේ තියෙන waste materials එළියට යන rate එකයි ගොඩක් වැඩි, right? So because of this, they have very high metabolic rate. Due to these things, due to these due to this high surface area, they have a high flowing rate. As a result, they have high metabolic rate. Because of all these things, their average generation time is very low. Average generation time means it is not the time taken by a single cell to double. Right? එක cell එකක් double වෙන්න ගන්න time එක නෙමෙයි average generation time කියන්නේ. Average generation time means the time required to double the population of microorganism in a particular environment. Right? Now, if we take your if we take your study table, then could microorganisms. If there are thousands of microorganisms, average generation time means the time taken to double that population, not a single cell, that whole population, right? So that time is very low, relatively less. And the rate of growth and reproduction of microorganisms are high. Okay, what is the reason? They are very small in size. Because of that, they have high surface area to volume ratio. Due to high surface area to volume ratio, they have large surface area available for exchange of materials. So the flowing rate of materials into the cell and out of the cell is high. As a result, they have high metabolic rate, right? Because of all these things, the average generation time is low. Okay? Right. Any doubts? Any doubts? If you have any doubts, please let me know, right? This part is very important. Again, rate of growth and reproduction of microorganisms are high. Why? Reason, Nika. They are smaller in size. Since they are smaller in size, surface area to volume ratio is high. As a result, they have larger surface area available for exchange of materials with the external environment. Therefore, flowing rate of materials into the cell and exist of waste material outside of the cell increases. So they have high metabolic rate and average generation time is relatively low. Okay, shall we move to next slide? Please let me know. Omar is okay. Others? Asna, right? Right. Shall we move to next slide? Right. Now, from that knowledge, you have to answer this question. Right? They can give this kind of question for the exam. Right? Explain how the small size and rapid reproduction rate of bacteria contribute to their large population size. Right? I'll give you 5 minutes. Please try to write down the answer for this question. Copy down the question and write down your answer. You can find the answer from the parts that we did earlier, right? Explain how the small size and rapid reproduction rate of bacteria contribute to their large population size. Structured essay question. As soon as you finish, please send your answers. Right? You have my WhatsApp number, right? Please WhatsApp your answer. Take a photo and send me. I'll check. Kaudanisma, right? Please don't use this kind of short forms. MO, right? You have to write down the word, complete word, microorganisms. Okay? Okay, good. Others? Others? Send your answers. Right. Imasa. No, Imasa, your answer is incomplete, right? You have to mention about the flow rate. It's better if you can mention about the flow rate also, right? Not complete, not enough. Then Liansa. Yes, Liansa, you have to mention about the size of the microbial cells. Their cell size, they are smaller. Therefore, as a result, right, surface area to volume ratio is high, right? Please mention that one. It's very important. Hasna, right? Mhm. Hasna, your answer is incomplete. It's incomplete. Not enough. Right? We'll check the answer. Here, first thing you have to write down is, okay, please note down using a red pen or something, I don't know. Do the correction. Microorganisms are smaller in size, right? Microorganisms are smaller in size. Therefore, they have high surface area to volume ratio. Okay? Speed වැඩි නම් කියන්න. Microorganisms are small in size. Therefore, they have high surface area to volume ratio. As a result, they have large surface area. As a result, they have large surface area available for exchange of materials. Available for exchange of materials with the external environment. As a result, therefore, they have a large surface area available for exchange of materials with the external environment. Hence, flowing rate of materials. Hence, flowing rate of materials into the inside of the cells, into the insides of the cells, and the excess of waste materials, and the excess of waste materials to the outside of the cells, to the outside of the cells increases, which results in high metabolic rate, which results in high metabolic rate. Therefore, average generation time. Therefore, average generation time is relatively less. Is relatively less. That means they can double their population within within a short period of time. Okay? Imasa, yeah. Again, microorganisms, they are smaller in size. Therefore, they have high surface area to volume ratio. Therefore, they have large surface area available for exchange of materials with the external environment. Right? Hence, flowing rate of materials into the inside of the cells and excess of waste materials to the outside of the cell increases, which results in high metabolic rate. Hence, the flowing rate of materials into the inside of cells and excess of waste materials to the outside of cells increases. Himaza, are you okay? Which results in high metabolic rate. Which results in high metabolic rate. Therefore, average generation time or time required to double the population is relatively less. So that means they can double their population within very short period of time. So the population size is very large. Right. Harida? Please let me know. Finish? Shall we move to next one? The meeting will end within 1 minute. Please join again through the same link, right? Others. 2 people are okay. Others? Right. Now start to write down answers for these questions. Right? Exploration questions. Right? I told you at the end of the first part of the session, you should be able to write down answers for these questions. Right? Copy down the questions and write down. Please don't go through your note. Right? මතකෙන් ලියන්න බලන්න and we'll check the answers. Quickly. Okay. Define the term microbiology. Right? Define the term microbiology. Again, microbiology means the study of, right? Study of organisms which are too small that cannot be observed with the naked eye or unaided eye when they exist individually. That is the answer. Right? Question number 2. Explain about microscopic nature of microorganisms. You can write down the resolution power of human eye is 0.1 millimeter. In general, microorganisms are smaller than 0.1 millimeter in size. Therefore, we cannot observe microorganisms with naked eye or unaided eye. Therefore, we have to use microscope to observe microorganisms. To measure the size of microorganisms, nanometers and micrometers are used. Some microorganisms can be seen with the naked eye due to their some microorganisms can be seen clearly due to their larger size, right? Due to their larger size, can be seen clearly. Then, question number 3. Microorganisms are ubiquitous on Earth. Explain. Then, mama කියන points ටික ලියා ගන්න ඕනි. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ එකේ තියෙනවා නම් mark කරගන්න. Right? Microorganisms are found in everywhere on Earth. They're found in water, soil, air, and the interior and exterior surfaces of other organisms. Second point, marine and freshwater microorganisms form the basis of food chain in oceans and freshwaters. Third point, some of them do photosynthesis. Fourth point, and are primary producers in aquatic environment. Fifth one, soil microorganisms, right? Soil microorganism. Sixth point, help recycling of chemical elements between soil, water, air, and living organisms. Next point, microorganisms suspended in air. Next point, as bioaerosols. Next point, have the opportunity to travel long distances with the wind current and precipitate. Next point, pathogenic bioaerosols cause opportunities for disease spreading. Next point, only a minority of microorganisms associate with other organisms are pathogenic. Next point, majority of them are harmless or advantageous. Next point, all viruses are harmful to the organism they attach to. Next point, Some microorganisms are capable of inhabiting extreme environmental conditions that are unfavorable or even lethal for other organisms. They are known as extremophiles. Next point. Extremophiles are found in deep sea at high pressure, hydrothermal vents, inside earth crust, extreme acidic or basic conditions, frozen seawater, and anaerobic conditions. Next point. Extremophiles are classified according to the condition in which they grow. Thermophiles, psychrophiles, acidophiles, alkaliphiles, halophiles, barophiles. Next point. Some extreme environment consists of more than one extreme condition. Therefore, microorganisms live in such environments are adapted to live with more than one extreme condition. Right? Next point, examples, right? For example, many hot springs are acidic or alkaline in nature at the same time. Next example, deep seas are cold and remain in high pressure. Okay, so if they give an essay question or a short note from this one, right? Like this, microorganisms are ubiquitous on Earth explained. That is the way how you have to arrange the answer. Okay? Harida? Right, others? We had 16 or 18 participants at the beginning. Now we have 5. Only 4. Without me, 4. So do you have any classes at this time? Some have messaged me like they have physics class like that. I don't know anyway. Then fourth question. What are the reasons for the widespread nature of microorganisms? Right? Structured essay question. They can give a structured essay question like that. Yes. We'll write down the answers. What is the first thing? What is the first reason? First one, due to their smaller size, they have high surface area to volume ratio. Due to their smaller size, their surface area to volume ratio is high. That is the one reason for the widespread nature. Okay. Second point, they have high surface area to exchange materials with the external environment efficiently. They have high surface area to exchange materials with the external environment efficiently. Next point, third reason, have high metabolic rate. They have high metabolic rate. Right? Fourth one, have high rate of growth and reproduction. Have high rate of growth and reproduction. Sixth one, they have diverse morphological forms. They have diverse morphological forms. Morphological forms means like they have different shapes. Now, if we take bacteria, we are going to discuss in the next part, right? They have different shapes, right? So it helps them to survive in different habitats. Seventh one, have diverse mode of nutrition. Not all of them are photosynthesis. Not all of them are heterotrophic. Right? Diverse. Diverse modes of nutrition. Eighth one, presence of physiological diversity. Presence of physiological diversity. Physiological diversity means some, right, they prefer to grow in oxygenic environment, but some in anaerobic environment. Some need very low amount of oxygen. That is diverse. And some of them are capable of nitrogen fixation. Right? Presence of physiological diversity. And last one, some have the ability to fix atmospheric N2. Some have the ability to fix atmospheric N2 or nitrogen. Okay? So those are the reasons for the widespread nature of microorganisms. Shall we move to next one? Right, others? Others? Finish? Okay, we'll start part 2. Part 2 of our session. Types of microorganisms, right? Before this part, they have like another subtopic in the resource book as morphological, nutritional, and physiological diversity of microorganism. We will discuss that part after learning about different types of microorganisms, right? Yes. So the first type of microorganism we are going to learn is bacteria. Okay. So you know bacteria, they belongs to domain bacteria, right? And they have prokaryotic cellular organization. What else? In the third lesson, you learn about bacteria and domain bacteria, right? You should know how to draw a bacterial cell, right? Prokaryotic cellular organization. And bacteria, they can't grow at temperatures greater than 100 degrees Celsius. They are membrane lipids and are unbranched hydrocarbon. That is the reason why they can't live in temperatures greater than 100 degrees Celsius. Right? Okay. Then what else? They respirate by mesosomes. Now we have mitochondria and they have mesosomes. Photosynthesis, they don't have chloroplast. Takes place on membranes which show no stacking. Unicellular, filamentous or colonial. And found in size 0.5 to 5 micrometers. Last time in 2022 A-level paper, we had an essay question. There we have to compare domain bacteria and eukarya, right? Then bacteria, they are well adapted to most of normal habitats. And they have peptidoglycan in their cell wall. Based on the amount of peptidoglycan in their cell wall, we can classify bacteria as gram-positive and gram-negative. Okay. Then capsule, their cell wall is covered by a sticky layer of polysaccharides called capsule. And they have flagella. Most of them have flagella. Not all, most. For their motility, right? Flagella, that bacterial flagella, it is different from eukaryotic flagella. කොහොමද? Normally, if we take eukaryotic flagella, it is covered by a plasma membrane. But here, flagella is not covered by a plasma membrane. And absence of 9+2 arrangement of microtubules. Right? Then reproduction by binary fission. Right? Some perform conjugation. Conjugation, it is a kind of sexual reproduction method. Okay, right. So those are the points that we learned about bacteria under Unit 3. Right. So here, bacteria single-celled, unicellular. They have only one cell. They exist as like unicellular organisms, not multicellular. Prokaryotic organisms. They don't have organized nucleus. Prokaryotic. They have prokaryotic cellular organization. They show different morphological forms and arrangement. That means they have 3 distinct shapes, body shapes, right? And they are arranged in different ways. Right? The morphological form means that. Most obvious structural feature of bacteria is the shape of individual cell. Now, if we take the shape of bacteria, there are 3 basic shapes. First one, spherical, it is called coccus. Spherical, coccus. Rod shape, bacillus. Spiral, if it looks like a spiral, it's called spirillum. Spherical shaped coccus, rod shaped bacillus, spiral shaped spirillum. During cell division, cells can remain attached to each other and form different forms of cell arrangements. Right? You know, during cell division, they do reproduction, right? In reproduction, cells are dividing, right? So during that cell division, cells remain attached to each other. This cell division, it can take place in 1 plane, 2 plane, 3 planes, or in several planes. So after the division of cells, these newly formed cells also, they remain attached together and form different forms of cell arrangements. Right. So now first we are going to learn about different forms of cell arrangements of coccus bacteria. Coccus, also called monococcus. Mono means one, monococcus. One sphere. So here, these cells, they divide in 1 plane. එක plane එක තමයි බෙදෙන්නේ. And divided cells, they detach from each other. හරිද? Then now you have this cell, parental cell කියලා ගමු අපි. එයා මෙන්න මේ plane එකේ බෙදෙනවා. බෙදිලා මෙතන එක cell එකක් ඒක වෙනමම grow වෙලා මෙයා හැදෙනවා. And the other part, this half, it will grow into this one. And they will separate. So now we have 2 separate cells. Again, the shape is coccus, spherical shape. Right? Cells divide in 1 plane. Coccus කියන්නේ cells divide in 1 plane. And divided cells detach from each other after cell division. Right? Next one. Diplococcus. Again, here also cells divide along 1 plane. එක plane එක විතරයි cells බෙදෙන්නේ. Right? Cells බෙදෙන්නේ එක plane එක විතරයි. Right? This is this plane. The cells divide along this plane. And divided cells remain in pairs. Divide වෙච්ච cells මේ විදියට pairs විදියට තියෙනවා. Diplococcus. Next one. Streptococcus. Again, here also cells divide in 1 plane, but divided cells, they remain attached in a chain-like pattern. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙතන cells 3ක් හෝ 3ට වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවා නම් අපි ඒකට කියනවා මොකක්ද? Streptococcus. chain එකක් වගේ. If there is only 1 coccus or monococcus, if there is 2 cells remain attached together, it is called diplococcus. If there are several cells, it is called streptococcus. Right? So in all these three cases, the parental cell is divided in one plane. එක plane එක විතරයි බෙදුනේ. Right. Next one. Tetrad. Tetrad means cells divided in two planes. Planes දෙකක බෙදෙනවා දැන්. Right? Remember? Now, here the cells divide in this direction. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ පැත්තටත් බෙදෙනවා. මේ පැත්තටත් බෙදෙනවා. Right? And it produces four cells and those four cells remain attached together. So it is called tetrad. Right? Tetrad. Cells divided in two planes. And four cells are formed and those four cells remain attached together. Next one. Sarcinae. Sarcinae means here the cells divide along three planes. Planes තුනක බෙදෙනවා. Right? So here these two are perpendicular. I made these two also perpendicular. මේ ඔක්කොම perpendicularly. මේ පැත්තටත් බෙදෙනවා. මේ පැත්තටත් පහළටත් බෙදෙනවා. මෙහෙටත් බෙදෙනවා. Right? Here, 8 cells are produced and all those eight cells, they remain attached, right, as in a group. Okay? Sarcinae. The last one of coccus. Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus means cells divide in multiple planes and form grape-like cluster of cells. Cluster එකක් හදනවා. Okay? හරි නේද? Shall we move to next one? Now we learn about three basic shapes: coccus, bacillus, spiral. And we learn about different cell arrangement of coccus bacteria. When cells divide in one plane and divided cells, right, detach from each other, it is called coccus or monococcus. If they remain in pairs, attached in pairs, diplococcus. If they exist as chains, it's called streptococcus. Then if cell division occur in two planes and form four cells and they remain as in a group, it's called tetrad. If it divides in three planes and produce 8 cells, it is called sarcinae. And cells divide in multiple planes and form grape-like cluster of cells. It is called staphylococcus. Okay? Right. Shall we move to next one? Now this is a picture. I took this from the Campbell, right? So you can see plane of division, only one plane, diplococcus, streptococcus. And in two planes, tetrad. 3 planes, sarcinae, and staphylococcus, multiple planes. Right. Next one, different forms of cell arrangement of bacillus bacteria. Bacillus means rod shape, right? So here in bacillus, cell division takes place only through this short axis. Now if we take this one, you can see there is another axis, right? This long axis. Now, cell division don't takes place through this axis. It takes place always through this short axis, okay? Short axis. So this is again another good MCQ point. So when cells divide through their short axis and produce and those two cells detach from each other, they are called single bacillus. Okay. When they remain attached in pairs, they are called diplobacillus. When they form a chain, it's called streptobacillus. Streptobacillus means there is 3 or more than that, right? Okay. Next one, different cell arrangement of spiral bacteria. Spiral, right? They have one or more twists. never straight, right? One or more twist and they are never straight. Vibrio. Vibrio, it looks like curved rods. Vibrio. Something look like this. Not straight, like this. Like a comma, right? Then spirillum. It's helical shape, like a corkscrew. And the most important thing is, now look, spirochete is flexible and spirillum is rigid body. Right, again a good MCQ point. Spirillum is rigid body, spirochete is flexible. Okay? Right? Yes. So we learned different cell arrangements of bacteria, coccus, bacillus and spiral. Right, that part is over. Now next one. Nutritional modes of bacteria. So we just discussed about the morphological diversity. Now nutritional modes. When we come to nutritional modes, based on the energy source and carbon source they use to produce their food, to obtain their food, we can categorize bacteria into 4 groups as photoautotrophs, photoheterotrophs, chemoautotrophs, and chemoheterotrophs. Here, photo means what? Photosynthesis. Photo means light. Chemo means chemicals, right? Phototroph means they use light as the energy source. Photo means they use light as the energy source. Chemo means they use chemicals. It can be inorganic chemicals or organic chemicals. Phototrophs. Phototrophs means they are, right, this is a short note. Phototrophic. Photoautotroph, right? Phototrophs. Can you see my cursor? Photoautotrophs. Bacteria can be divided into 2 groups based on the energy source as photo and chemo. Right? This is just a short note, right? Exam එකකින් photo chemo කියලා දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා ලියන්න එපා. Right? Photoautotrophic. Photoautotrophic means they use light as the source of energy and carbon dioxide or inorganic carbon as their carbon source. Right? Examples are purple sulfur bacteria and green sulfur. Here the spellings, you have to use these same spellings, right? Sulfur, වෙන විදිහට ලියන්න. Can you hear me? Yes. So where did I? Right. So now nutritional modes of bacteria. Okay. Phototrophic again. Phototrophic means they use light energy as their energy source. And carbon dioxide. They use carbon dioxide or inorganic carbon as their carbon source and they produce their food. Phototrophic. Example, purple sulfur bacteria, green sulfur bacteria. Then the next side, photoheterotrophic. Photoheterotrophic means again they use light energy as their energy source, but the carbon source here is it is organic. Now in the previous case it is inorganic. Carbon dioxide means inorganic molecule. Now in heterotrophic, photoheterotroph, they use organic carbon. Okay? Can you hear me? Right. Okay. So, organic carbon. Example is purple, null, none, sulfur. Not E here, it should be U. Right? Purple, none, sulfur. FUR, not FER. FUR. Okay? Purple, none, sulfur bacteria. Purple, none, sulfur bacteria. Then chemototrophic. Chemototrophic means, chemo means they use inorganic chemicals. Chemototrophic and they use inorganic chemicals as their energy source. And carbon dioxide. Autotrophic කිව්වම ගන්න carbon dioxide. එහෙම නැත්නම් inorganic carbon තමයි ආයිගාගේ carbon source එක විදියට use කරන්නේ. They use inorganic carbon as their carbon source. Right? What is the light source? Inorganic chemical. Carbon source is inorganic carbon or carbon dioxide. Examples, nitrobacter, right? Nitrosomonas, Theobacillus theoxidans. When you're written, right, you have to underline. Okay? Scientific names. These are scientific names. Clearly, you have to underline that. Then heterotrophic. Chemoheterotrophic means they use organic chemicals as the energy source and organic carbon as the carbon source. Example, most bacteria. Okay? Can you understand this flow chart now, this part? This is how we can classify bacteria based on their nutritional mode. Right? I think this way is very easy for you to remember. This is very easy. Right? Only one is responding. Others? Right. Then physiological modes of bacteria. Physiological modes, right? Here the microorganisms can be classified into 4 groups based on their tolerance to oxygen. Right? Based on their tolerance to what? Oxygen. Obligate aerobes. Obligate aerobes means they require oxygen for their survival. Right? Oxygen noni. Oxygen නැත්නම් අපෝ බෑ. අපිට බෑ කියනවා. They need oxygen. And they generate energy by oxidative phosphorylation. Important, right? Oxidative phosphorylation. Example, Acetobacter. AC, right? Not AZ. Acetobacter. හරිද? Obligate aerobes. Next one, obligate anaerobes. Anaerobes කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා අපිට oxygen එපා. Right? They cannot survive in the presence of oxygen. And they generate energy by fermentation. Right? You learn about aerobic and anaerobic methods, right? Of production of energy. Mitochondria in unit 2, fermentation. Clostridium species, right? Clostridium should be underlined and SP you have to read in normal way, normal letters. You don't have to underline that. Okay? Yes, if they have given SP in the textbook, SP means species. You have to write down as it is because this is Sri Lankan A-levels name. Okay? That 2 words, it will write whether you are going to medicine degree or bioscience degree, it will depend on that SP. Okay? So we have to study as it is given in the resource book. Then facultative anaerobic. Facultative anaerobic means they prefer to grow in the presence of oxygen. And when they grow in the presence of oxygen, they produce energy by oxidative phosphorylation. But also they can live in anaerobic environment using fermentation, right? ඕන එකට ඔට්ටුයි. E. coli කියලා හලති. Escherichia coli. Escherichia coli. E. coli කියන්නේ යාට. Then ඊළඟ last one, microaerophilic. බලන්න මේ නමෙන් අපිට definition එක ගන්න පුළුවන්. Here micro means little කියන එකනේ. Micro means little. Aero means O2, oxygen. Philic means prefer or like, right? Micro means little, little, okay? Aero means oxygen, philic means prefer. So they prefer little amount of oxygen. When කොහොමද definition එක දීලා තියෙන්නේ? Little. Anyway, type that. Can grow only in oxygen concentrations lower than those in air. ඒගොල්ලෝ ආස ඔක්සිජන් අඩුවෙන් තියෙන තැන්වල ඉන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ එයා වල තියෙන ඔක්සිජන් concentration එකට වඩා අඩුවෙන් තියෙන ඔක්සිජන් concentration එක තමයි grow වෙන්නේ. Lactobacillus species. Lactobacillus species is the example. Okay. Shall we move to next one? Any doubts? No doubts. Okay. Now, again, some bacteria, not all, some, they are capable of fixing atmospheric nitrogen. Fixing atmospheric nitrogen means they can convert N2 into ammonia, right? In the later sections of this lesson, you will learn nitrogen cycle, right? Yes. So they show diversity in nitrogen. They show diversity in nitrogen fixation, right? Free-living nitrogen fixing bacteria. Free-living nitrogen fixing bacteria, example as azotobacter. දැන් අතන කලින් හිටිය අපිට හම්බුණා acetobacter, ACE. මෙතන ඉන්න වෙන එක්කෙනෙක් azotobacter, AZO. Free-living nitrogen fixing bacteria. Then the second group is symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria. කියන්නේ තව කාත් එක්ක හරි symbiotic relationship එකක් ඇති කර එයා nitrogen fixation කරනවා. Right? තනියම කරන්නේ එයාට නිකන් එයාට එච්චර guts නැහැ. එහෙම හිතන්නකෝ. Rhizobium species with legume roots. Right? ඔය leguminous plants වල root එක associate වෙලා ඉන්න rhizobium bacteria. That is an example for symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria. Okay. Next one. That part is over. Then reproduction of bacteria. So here, under this part, we have to learn there are 3 asexual reproduction methods. First one, binary fission. Right? Mostly they undergo binary fission. And in some occasion, they undergo fragmentation and budding. Fragmentation, budding, binary fission, all those 3 are asexual reproduction methods. And in rare occasions, they undergo something called conjugation. Right? Conjugation means the bacteria of 2 strains. That means jati deka, 2 types. Right? Then අපේ ගත්තොත් maternal and paternal organism ලා වගේ දෙන ජාති දෙකන්නේ. Right? Within bacteria of 2 strains, they share a portion of genetic material through the process of conjugation. Since there is 2 strains, right, this can be considered as a mode of sexual reproduction. Okay, any doubts? Asexual reproduction method mostly by binary fission, in some occasion by fragmentation and budding, and in rare occasion, they use a mode of sexual reproduction called conjugation in rare occasions, right? Okay. Any doubts? So for today, that the theory part is over, right? Next day, we are going to learn about the other types of microorganisms, right? So now I have this structured as equation for you, just a part, right? Because we learn only a small part today. Yes, please copy down the question and write down answers. right? When you are sending the photos, please send that like in the correct direction, right? Then I have to rotate my device 360 degrees angle. Right. Masa. No, it's okay, Masa. Imasa acetobacter, right? Check your spellings. I think it's incorrect. Acetobacter should be E, not O. Right, others? Nisma. And I don't know how to pronounce this name. Ainai. Am I correct? I don't know. Finish. Right. Look at the first one. Part A. Right. Okay. Part A. Roman number 1. Simple A. Part. State the 4 groups of microorganisms on their relation to oxygen and example for each groups of microorganism. So, we learn 4 physiological groups based on their classified based on their tolerance to oxygen. Obligate aerobes, right? Obligate aerobes. Book එකේ අපිට දීලා තිබ්බේ කාවද? Acetobacter. In addition to that, we can take this guy also. Not guy, the microorganism, right? මෙන්න මෙයාව ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. Obligate aerobes වලට acetobacter species, right? This should be italicized, right? And the other one is azotobacter. Azotobacter. එකත් ලියාගන්න. Acetobacter species. You have to underline. Then state the nature of each above group of microorganisms. Others. Obligate anaerobes වෙන්නේ කවුද? Clostridium species. Clostridium, it causes tetanus, right? Other than that, we can take Pseudomonas species also. Then facultative anaerobic වෙන්නේ E. coli, Escherichia coli. Then microaerophilic වෙන්නේ Lactobacillus species. Lactobacillus. Then state the nature of each of above group of microorganisms. State the nature of each of above group of microorganisms. Obligate aerobes. Imasa. You didn't write the answer for that one. Imasa. Oh. Hasna. Sorry. Hasna. Right? Who came just now? Rehani. Right? So we are at the end of the session, right? Obligate aerobes. Here we have to mention the nature. That means you have to write like obligate aerobes. What are their properties, characteristics? They require oxygen for survival and they generate energy by oxidative phosphorylation. Then obligate anaerobic cannot survive in the presence of O2, produce energy by fermentation. Facultative anaerobic, right? For the first question, give 4 marks, right? ලකුණු 4ක් දෙන්න. 4ම හරිනම්. ඒ කියන්නේ name එකයි example එකයි දෙකම හරිනම් 1 ලකුණයි. Like that, give 4 marks. And part B, right? Obligate aerobes 1 mark. You have to write down require oxygen for survival and generate energy by oxidative phosphorylation. If you have written both characteristics, give 1 mark. Then obligate anaerobe cannot survive in the presence of O2, produce energy by fermentation, 1 mark. Facultative anaerobic prefer to grow in the presence of O2, produce energy by oxidative phosphorylation, 1 mark. Right. Then facultative anaerobic prefer to grow in the presence of O2, produce energy by oxidative phosphorylation, give 1 mark. Can also grow in anaerobic environment using fermentation, give 1 mark. Microaerophilic can grow only in oxygen concentration lower than those in air, right? Give 1 mark, right? 1 mark. Then Roman number 2, what are the reasons for the widespread nature of microorganisms? They have smaller in size, possess high surface area to volume ratio. Due to they have large surface area for the exchange of materials with the external environment. That is the 3rd point. 4th one, possess diverse morphological forms, possess diverse physiological modes. Nutritional modes are diverse. They can fix atmospheric nitrogen. They have high metabolic rate, right? Then generation time, average generation time is less, right? If you have written 5 points, at least 5, right? Give 5 marks, 1 for each point. Then state 4 different types of extremophiles and their environmental conditions. Thermophiles, high temperature, right? Psychrophiles, low temperature. Acidophiles, acidic pH. Alkaliphiles, basic pH. Halophiles require sodium chloride. Barophiles, high pressure. If you have written 4, give 4 marks. Then state separately which types of extremophiles can be found in hot springs and deep sea. Hot spring means temperature is high, right? Hot temperature, and they can be acidic or alkaline either. So thermophiles, acidophiles and alkaliphiles. Hot springs, they are at high temperature as well as at the same time they are acidic or alkaline. So thermophiles, acidophiles and alkaliphiles can survive there. Deep sea again, temperature is very low, pressure is high. So psychrophiles and barophiles can exist there. Last one, state the planes of division of coccus bacteria when forming following types of colonies. Streptococcus, plane of division, 1 plane ne. Eka plane එක බෙදෙනවා and formed cells, they remain attached in chain-like pattern. Tetrad means cells divided in 2 planes and 2 planes. Sarcinae, cells divided in 3 planes, and Staphylococcus, cells divided in multiple planes. Okay? Right? Oh. Harida. So today's session is over. We have an essay question also. So please do this as a homework, right? Copy down the question, write an account on bacteria. For this essay, you have to, right, include whatever the things, features that you learn in Unit 3 under the domain bacteria, and also the morphological forms, physiological modes, nutritional modes, reproduction about bacteria that you learned today. And also you can draw a bacterial cell, right, and label it. 12 minutes. Okay, this is the essay question. I decided to do this today, right? Yes, the ones who are going to watch the recording, right? Yes. Go through the recording, copy down the note. You can make a short note and answer the questions given here and send me a feedback, right? Yes. So next day, most probably we can do the class on Monday or Tuesday. I'll upload a poll to the group, right? And to join that, the second session, you have to pay the class fees and register in the class, right? We'll upload all the bank details and how you have to do that to the group, right? Yes. If you have any questions, you can send me a WhatsApp message. And there is we are going to start a paper class, special exam target paper class, November 1st, right?